Hey, YouTube. Well, I said we would return to this, so here we are. Before we dive in, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know, the little buttons, all things down there. You know, comments are down there. And, hey, we do stream there over on Twitch 3 days a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Put the link down below. Now, this will lack the normal structure that we have to all of our reviews. You know, music and sound and gameplay and the feel and all that. The reason being is, well, because we've already looked at the original game. We even looked at the DLC that went with it. There are changes to the look and the feel, you know, based on the story and all that, but the game itself, it really hasn't changed very much. So, let's get to it. Do the thing. I said do the thing. Last time on CTL Gaming's look at Marvel's Avengers. The Avengers became criminals. Kate Bishop is looking for Clint Barton. Well, she finds him, and he is now, that's right, a bad guy. We find out to succeed in time travel that we must harness lightning and spoopy clouds. And we found a terribly disappointing boss that was just basically a mechanical Avenger version of Deadpool. And no, not any of the good ones. This one. So, now it's finally time to dive into the next chapter in us holding our breaths, waiting for life in this game that has so much potential. Today, we're looking at the DLC for Marvel's Avengers, Hawkeye, Present Imperfect. I mean, Future Imperfect. What is new? Well, Future Imperfect Hawkeye is the second DLC for Marvel's Avengers. What does this DLC bring to the table? Well, you get a new character. Go figure. You get a new story, which we have been promised with each new character. They give us one new boss. We get one whole new enemy, and no, it's not a new enemy type. It's just one new enemy. We get a new biome and a few end game quality of life improvements. Oh, and we did get the next gen version of this game, so it's now available on release of this DLC for the PS5. Oh, and if you had the PS4 version, there is a free upgrade to that PS5 version. Go check it out. So the first thing we're going to look at is the character. Yes, it's finally happened. We're getting Clint Barton Hawkeye. On the surface, it almost seems like he's really just the male copy of a character that we got in the last DLC. Remember that Hawkeye back in December? But truthfully, this is kind of what you would expect. Barton trained Kate Bishop. He exists because of him. So there's going to be a lot of similarities. There's going to be a lot of things that are copied. This is one of the reasons that I think that they should have released both characters at the same time as it was originally planned. We were supposed to get Hawkeye and Hawkeye the exact same time, and then, you know, we wouldn't feel cheated. We feel cheated over this character because it is so similar. Though I do believe that I like Barton better of the two, but most of that's because since the reboot, the 2012 reboot of the comic, I have been all in on this version of Hawkeye. I mean, Marvel rebooted the character and made him, well, human. The dude literally is normal. He even has a hard time paying his rent as a superhero. I mean, you don't get a paycheck for being an Avenger, and they really emphasize that in this comic. Well, this leads into the story. Once again, they have done an amazing job of telling the story of this new character. Um, you get a sense of who Clint Barton is. His mannerisms, they're all here. I mean, the fact that he is human and not a metahuman is here. One of your first missions, you have to go collect things from his apartment, and you're talking to all of his neighbors. They're having a rooftop barbecue, and he's just one of the guys. So the storytelling, it's really on point here because they nail those particular things. Though the whole time travel thing is a bit meh, and especially when you get into the history of Marvel and who can and cannot time travel, it really kind of breaks some of the rules. But everything that has to do with the character itself and how it unfolds, it's pretty good. I do appreciate that. The new biome? Well, there's really nothing new here. Remember the forest biome that we got in vanilla? Or how about the city biome? That's right. Looks like a city. Well, what they've done here is they've basically taken all of the old biomes from the vanilla game and painted them in a desert palette. That's right, oranges, browns. They made a few buildings dilapidated, and then they send you back into the bunkers that we have seen about 500 times. The only thing that we've seen more of than these bunkers, well, is the harm training sessions. That's it. So, well, and guess what? There's a new enemy. New enemy. This new enemy, it's just a loop goblin. Diablo did it. Everybody else has done it. It's basically an aim guy running around with a backpack. You hit him and he drops stuff. And honestly, the AI for this unit is just plain stupid. You hit him, he runs away until he hits a wall, and then he stands there and waits until you or one of your 3 team members run over there and hit him. You rinse and repeat until he has no life. I have not lost one in probably the 4-5 hours that I put into this game. I've run into 3 of these guys now, and they never get away. They're terrible. Now, there are some quality of life improvements. There were 2 things that addressed some of the problems that people had with Endgame, because that's where they wanted it. So, Square has made some adjustments. They have given us the ability to restart the campaign and to create customized harm missions. Now, both of these things, honestly, they're not bad additions. The campaign is one of the greatest things about this game, and the fact that we can now restart it, and we get to keep all of our levels and all of our gear to our characters that we've already built up, and go through that story again, is immensely important to lean into what they do well. As for the harm missions, well, being able to build your own harm simulation is great, but as I mentioned before, there's only one biome that I've managed to see more often than the bunker, and that's harm. I've seen that thing so many times. It's terrible. The last thing that they added with this new DLC, well, that's right, finally here, they have managed to make it a next-gen game. There have been a number of games which have already done this. They've already gotten the next-gen treatment. I mean, Spider-Man got remastered. Miles Morales started that way. Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, all of them. Well, now we get Avengers 2. And if you had the PS4 version, you can actually get the PS5 version for free. Now, this is great. It's needed because, frankly, this game is too much for a PS4 to handle. I mean, even in this DLC, they had to build a loading screen. I'm not joking. It's one of the things that they said they weren't going to do. Load screens in between levels. There's a load screen in between levels on this thing, specifically for the DLC, because it takes too long to render certain things in the environment. So, Final thoughts. This game, Marvel's Avengers, is in trouble. Over the last 3 months, they have lost more than half of their player base. And the Taking Aim DLC did little to satiate those looking for more in the game. But it did give a lot of us hope that they were still going to be working on this. They were going to actually try to improve on what they had. As for future Imperfect, it feels like a lot of the features here should have been released at the same time as Taking Aim, or at least the Clint Barton character, so that we didn't feel like we were getting cheated. Hell, they've even been talking about going to a free-to-play game in hopes to bring in a larger player base, but it seems that as a developer, they may cut their losses before they even finish their roadmap of all of the characters, and this can really be felt because on the release date of this DLC, they released the trailer for their next DLC. No teaser, no letting people getting through this DLC first. They basically went, here's the DLC, we know it's not enough, hold out for the next one. And it's sad. I absolutely love the Hawkeye character. I love Clint Barton. I do. And as I continue to return to this game in spurts as I do, he may end up being my main character after a while. But there's just not enough to bring new players to the table. And there's even less on this DLC to keep those that are holding out hope. So YouTube, what do you think of present Imperfect DLC? Or are you still crossing your fingers? Are you holding out hope for something more? Are you hoping for that great redemption arc like No Man's Sky? Or are you just watching this because you want to see how far it's fallen, or if it's safe to return yet at all? Let me know. Post it in the comments below, and well, we'll see you at the next review, or maybe the next DLC. Are we gonna do Black Panther? We're probably gonna do Black Panther. Later, YouTube.
Copy.
Good boy, Lucky.
Can I pet that dog?
No, he's
Can I
sleeping.
pet that dog?
Thank you once again, YouTube, for watching the video. I really do appreciate you. Hey, if you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell to get notification when we go live with a new video. That's every Sundays. Also, like and comment on that video you just watched. I want to know what content you want to see, what content you want me to do. I mean, this is your channel. This is your community. I do this for you. Also, right over here, that's right, those are the social links. I do things IRL in those as well. A little different from what we do here, and a little different from what we do, last but not least, Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Also better known as Beers Day over the channel. 3 to 7. Come have a beer. Join the Landers. Be part of the chat. Thank you once again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, YouTube.
Yeah, that's a good puppy. Oh, that's such a good puppy. Okay, come on.